Good morning or good afternoon, depending on what class period I have for you. Just a heads up, we are completely switching gears here in regards to math. I know we had done our last couple of lessons were on angles, adding angles and trying to figure out angle measures. We're going to kind of stick with that theme a little bit, but we're going to transition we're going to be doing a lot more geometry this semester. And what I want to make, and I think if you don't have a pencil, okay, if you don't have a paper, you're going to need to just go ahead and press pause and get that and get ready, because the notes that you're going to take in this lesson are really going to help you for the quiz, for the test, everything we have moving forward. I don't have any formal notes for you to print out necessarily. So you're really going to have to just take some solid notes and press pause and just make sure that you have all this information down. Okay, what we're dealing with today are parallel lines. Okay, and parallel lines, you got to think of like train tracks. They're never going to intersect and they're never going to meet. Okay, now these lines are parallel. They're going to be cut by another line. And this line that cuts through the parallel lines is called a transversal. Okay, I'll write that down. This is a transversal. It cuts the parallel lines. Okay, so now you can see that we have a lot of different angles now. Okay, we have like angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so what happens when you have two parallel lines and they're cut by a transversal is now we have 8 different angles. Okay, and these angles have different relationships to each other. And that's really what today's lesson is going to be about. Okay, now in order for you to understand what these mean and why they're called what they're called, like if I told you that a job title is an interior decorator, right? Interior decorator is a job title. And what they do is they design the inside of a house, right? Interior means inside. Okay, if I said like an exterior, right, that would mean outside. Okay, so you need to kind of get in your head the relationship between interior and inside and exterior and outside. And what I mean by that is when we're talking about like parallel lines. So let me shift down here and show you what I'm talking about, interior and exterior. Okay, if we're on the interior of the parallel lines, right, interior, we're on the inside, right? We're on the inside of the parallel lines. This would be interior. Okay, if we were on the exterior of the parallel lines, and to be honest, you don't have to take notes on all this stuff. You can just watch. I'll tell you when you need to start really taking notes. We're on the outside of the parallel lines. Okay, so that you need to get in your head. Interior means inside the parallel lines. Exterior means outside of the parallel lines. Okay, now we have that transversal, right? That transversal cuts through our parallel lines. So I'm going to draw the transversal right now. And we have two other concepts. So remember, we're going to have the interior concept and the exterior concept. That has to do with the parallel lines. Okay, these other concepts have to do with the transversal. So if I said alternate, that means we're on one side of the transversal and we're on the other side of the transversal. That's what alternate means. Okay, if I said same side, or I said, let me move this guy, I don't even know if you can see it, but I'm going to move it, consecutive, that means we're on the same side of the transversal. So you see how the transversal's over here, right? It's right there. Alternate means one's on the left, one's on the right. Okay, same side or consecutive means we're on the same side of the transversal. We're either all the way on the right, right? These guys are on the same side, they're on the right side, or we could be on the left side. Okay, So now what happens, let me show you, is we're going to take all this random information that I just gave you, okay, because it is random, and this is where you really need to start taking notes, and we're going to talk about the angle pairs. And all you have to do for today's homework, which is really cool, you don't have to do any math, is you just have to name the angles. Okay, so that's why you really need to take good notes here. So our first angle pair is I'm going to show you like something like this. I'll put a guy here and I'll put a guy here. And what this is, let's look. See how they're on the outside of the parallel lines, right? One's on the bottom, one's on the top. It's going to be exterior. And see how one's on the left side of the transversal and one's on the right? It's going to be alternate exterior. That's what these angles are called, alternate exterior. Okay, now watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to draw my parallel lines. I'm going to draw my transversal. And what happens if I put a guy here and I put a guy here? Do you see how they're on the inside of the parallel lines now? So that's not going to be exterior, it's going to be interior. And one's on the left and one's on the right, okay, of the transversal, so that's going to be alternate again. So these guys are called alternate exterior, and these guys are called alternate interior. Okay, now what other angle pairs do we have? Let me see. I did the alternate exterior, I did the alternate interior. Corresponding. Okay, these ones are really tough. Corresponding angles are the toughest ones, in my opinion. Okay, I'm going to put one like right here and one right here. These guys are called corresponding. And you just need to kind of like learn these, and I'll show you another pair of corresponding, and hopefully you can kind of figure out your own pattern, right, on which ones are corresponding and why they're corresponding. Okay, there's so many different pairs of corresponding angles, but these guys could be corresponding like here and here. I think for me, with corresponding angles, you can see that they're on the same side, right, of the transversal. Like, see how they're both on the left here or they're both on the right here. And then there's kind of a pattern in regards to the parallel line. This guy's on the bottom of this parallel line, and this guy's on the bottom of this parallel line. This guy's on the top of this parallel line, and this guy's on the top of this parallel line. So you just kind of need to memorize that. You need to memorize that these are corresponding. Okay, what else do we have? So I did corresponding. Same side interior. Okay, you kids can figure this out probably pretty easily. Same side interior. Okay, same side interior. Okay, so we know that they need to be on the same side of the transversal. So they can either be on the right side of the transversal or they can be on the left side of the transversal. Okay, and they need to be interior, so on the inside. So something like this guy and this guy, those are same side interior. Or this guy and this guy, those guys are same side interior. Another word for those could be consecutive interior. So same side interior, or you might see on the test it could say consecutive interior. But yeah, those are that. Okay, now we got two more we need to go over, and then we'll have our notes and we can do a couple practice problems and be done. So I got that guy there. And I've got this guy here. Okay, one of our angle types is called vertical angles. Okay, and for vertical angles, you just need to think of an X. So you see my X here? at the top of the x and the bottom of the x is vertical angles. Or if I have my x on the left of the x and the right of the x is vertical angles. So let me show you some vertical angles. Do you see how technically we have an x here? It's a weird x, but it's an x. So on opposite sides, like this guy here, he's a vertical angle, and he's a vertical angle, because they're on opposite sides of the x. Hey, guess what? This guy here's a vertical angle, this guy here's a vertical angle. They're on opposite sides of the x. Okay, so that's vertical angles. And the last one is adjacent. Adjacent just means next to. They're side by side, right? They're side by side. So this guy could be adjacent and this guy could be adjacent. You see how they're side by side? Okay, this guy could be adjacent and this guy can be adjacent because they're just side by side. Like they're just next to each other. Adjacent means next to. Okay, so take a minute. Hopefully you've kind of paused here and there. Are those any good? You can pause, right? Make sure you got all the notes down. Okay, and then we're going to do some practice problems right now and we'll be done. Thank you. All right, let's go to our lesson. So I'm just going to quiz you and we'll go through it. Why don't you try 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4 on your own. Okay, and then, you know, press pause, do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then press play and we'll go over it. Okay. All right, let's do it. So these guys, they're both on the inside. They're on the inside of the parallel lines, so I know it's going to be interior. And they're on the same side of the transversal. See how they're both on the left side? So it's going to be same side interior. Boom. Okay, these guys are on the inside of the parallel lines. Can you see? Here are the parallel lines. They're both on the inside, so it's probably going to be interior. And they're on different sides of the transversal. Can you see how one's on the left and one's on the right? So that means it's going to be alternate. Okay, number 3. Okay, these guys over here are on the outsides of the parallel lines. See our parallel lines here? They're on the top and the bottom. They're on the outside, so it's going to be exterior. And they're on different sides of the transversal. One's on the left, one's on the right, so that's going to be alternate. Alternate exterior. Okay, 4, these guys are just next to each other. You see how they're right next to each other? They're touching. They're like best friends right next to each other. Okay, that's adjacent. Okay? Okay, let's do our last problems. Go ahead and pause. I want you to do 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then we'll go over them. Okay, 5 we already touched on. They're on the inside, so it's going to be interior. And they're on different sides of the transversal, so it's going to be alternate interior. These guys look just like this guy, right? So they're adjacent. These guys are right next to each other, so they're adjacent. And these, ooh, this is a tricky one, right? This is corresponding. So all you want to do is use your notes and match everything up, and you should be fine. Okay, this next lesson I'm going to do in 2 seconds is going to have some math in it. So we're going to use these principles, right? And then we're going to do some math. All right.